Are live. What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog here with Aaron the Dog MMA, and I am back with my real co-host. Sorry, Brandon of MMA Wagers, but there is only one Bryan Pooh Bear Battle of the Ultimate Fighter now.
Yes, sir.
But he's always going to be Pooh Bear to me. And he got rid of the underscores because he got hacked. Maybe I was the one who hacked his Instagram to get rid of that dumbass double Instagram.
Look, last time I never wanted underscores. No
one wants underscores.
This time it worked with no underscores. Last time it didn't work. So I'm happy that this time, if I have to get a new account, I'm happy my new account doesn't have any underscores. Thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. But if people don't know, a lot more people know now who Bryan Battle is. Now with this little Ultimate Fighter show going on in the second week now. Team Volkanovski, which this is an official Team Volkanovski podcast. We were supposed to have Aaron Phillips on tonight. Unfortunately, technical issues happen, as we know, but we'll work around them. We'll get that Alaskan, like an actual phone made out of plastic instead of the one made out of like moose or whatever his phone's made out of. I don't know. He's Alaskan. I'm tired. It's a little late to be starting for me, but you know.
All I is anything you think you know about Alaskans, you don't know. It's crazy. It's like a whole different world over there. I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be, it was a hell of an experience on Tough, but it's good to be back home, back with my people, back ready to fight on Thursday night. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go. Let's get it.
Yep, I got the PFL muted in the background here. I've been cashing those bets all night. Got a nice somehow got Chris Wade at dog money. Made no sense to me against some guy from the Ukraine. I think it made no sense to me. I really don't know what they were thinking with that line, but that's it's all good. Clarissa Shields is debuting there, but we're here to break down UFC 263. Feels like a triple title headliner, although it's 3 5-round fights, so. Good enough there, headlined by Izzy Vettori 2, Figueredo Moreno 2, and then Leon Edwards getting his big shot here. Definitely that big step up. Everybody seems to have forgotten, but Leon Edwards got that eye poke in his first return back, but was looking excellent before the eye poke. I think he was on his way to a finish. But
now, just to piggyback what you said, I mean, Nate DIaz is bigger than fighting for half of the titles that are in the UFC right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nate DIaz, if I really do wonder if Israel Adesanya had won, maybe he would be really headlining this. I mean, imagine if he was coming down after a double champ, I think. But I do think that Nate DIaz is what people are buying the pay-per-view for this weekend.
All the casuals, at least, you know what I mean? And
even a lot of hardcores. This is the weird thing about Nate DIaz. He gets both.
Yeah, you're right. This is fair.
He really does. He's the girl who does both.
He was a hardcore sweetheart, and then when he beat Conor McGregor, that's when he just
and that's when he stopped winning. Also,
also when he stopped winning. And isn't it funny that Muhammad is fighting on this card too? Like, it was weird. I thought they were going to do a rematch of that, and instead,
which I would have found, frankly, to be a more entertaining pure MMA fight. But this is obviously entertaining for a lot of other reasons. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I am a Nate DIaz fan, but man, I think like most Nate DIaz fans, and even Nate DIaz, we're all nervous this weekend. Nate, this is as serious as I've seen Nate take an opponent, which might be for the better, or we might be a little telling of why he's a nearly 400 underdog.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's a lot to talk about here. It's good to have you back. I mean, definitely watching Tough and just listening to you. You've gotten your laugh in every episode, so there has been every fucking episode. I'm like, that's Bryan. Like, there's no way that's Ryder Newman laughing like that. There's only one brother in the house, maybe two, who could be laughing like that. But
yeah, no, it was kind of funny. It was like it was me and Trayshawn.
Yeah, exactly. What it was, you or Trayshawn who was laughing like that.
It's like Trayshawn, he didn't laugh very much, dude. Trayshawn's a crazy.
He didn't seem like the laughing type.
He's a really nice guy. Really nice guy. Didn't laugh too much. I can't remember off the top of my head one time I heard Trey Sean.
Not a lot.
Weird. Because I'm only thinking about it right now. So that's the funny part about it. But
the other part I loved about last episode, and then we will jump into the 14 fight card here, is that getting ready to watch 261, and like the true podcast analyst he is, he sits down. So who you got? Who you got? What? He got into full-on sit-down analyst mode. He's like, who you got and why? And then someone said they had Wiley, and you went, you kind of get, I think it was Mitch maybe. And you were like,
I'm telling you,
I don't know.
I might have a problem because we didn't have any money or anything on the show. We were gambling with push-ups, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, there we go.
I told everybody on there about this show. I was like, yo, this is like, I do this podcast. We break down fights and stuff. And we literally, so that fight, I had 225 push-up bets going with two different people that Rose was going to win.
Yep.
Shout out to
Oh, my God. I know I wasn't able to talk to you at that point, obviously, but I was down there for the fights. Obviously,
I thought you had told me before that you got your tickets as soon as they went on sale, and I was like, God, man, this
the second, and I regret nothing about that night. Yeah, it was one of the craziest nights for sure. But I think this should be a pretty crazy one as well. Out of Glendale getting a little love here with two Adesanya Vettori fights. The last one was in Glendale as well. One thing right off the bat I want to mention also is that Bryan was the second to last pick. And let me tell you, the people just don't know. And it's absolutely incredible to me that a Bellator winning fighter in Kerman was the last pick. First of all, that's crazy to me. People just don't know about the zombie. And then, but if you look at your history on Tough, I think the later you get picked, usually the better, actually. I mean, in general, it's the last half of picks who have won seasons of Tough. We are seeing Brandon Moreno right now, who is the last pick on Tough. Kelvin Gastelum, last pick. I mean, these keep on going. So I wasn't really worried about it at all. I think that, if anything, it's an advantage. So I don't know if you can really remember what you were feeling as you were the second to last. Might as well have been the last pick you probably felt like. But, like, what did that even matter to you?
I approached it like I was the last pick on my team. Like, I knew I wasn't the last pick overall, but I called myself the last pick all season. And it mattered to me very much because, man, I've never been picked last in anything. I didn't feel like last pick material. So it was great. Just from the aspect is that it gave me something, gave me motivation to, try to prove something. So it was cool. It was cool because it gave me a little extra motivation, but I'm surprised, like, they got me smiling on camera, but as soon as I walked over and grabbed my jersey, I was heated, man. I was like, I can't believe I'm the last pick.
I mean, but it again, like, I'm not gonna ask you to reveal anything or anything like that, but it's just like you're all getting into this house. You don't need to be the first pick and be continuing to feel like hot shit, like, period. I'm not saying that's why Mitch lost or anything like that, but it didn't help him win. I mean, it doesn't, you don't need to be the first pick. You need to be the last standing, period. So, like,
what's crazy about that is, like, because Mitch is really good too. Like, he was really
absolutely.
And, it's kind of like you said, at the end of the day, it comes down to, who can win in those 10 to maybe 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes, 15 minutes if they need it. But yeah, man, it was crazy. It was I can't wait till the show is over and I can just talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I am going to not try to peek into what that means, but I will talk from my perspective here. If I were saying that I can't wait for a show to be over, it's not because it didn't go well, at least a little bit. That's all I'll say. And we are going into the fights now. We are on a 14 fight. That is my words, not Bryan Battle's words. But I'm just saying I would not be looking forward to talking about it if my face was all fucked up and it was shitty. So that's all I got to say about that. Not trying to get Bryan into trouble. Those are my words, not his words.
Not mine.
First fight of the night that we are breaking down. We're finally back here. We've got a heavyweight fight. I'm going to try to be respectful. Carlos Felipe versus Jay Collier. They're not going to win a bodybuilding contest. But you know what? Neither is Bryan Battle, and he's a damn good fighter. So let's go. We're talking about fights. We're not talking about Mr. Olympia here. And so we got Carlos Felipe, Jake Collier. Jake Collier, he got to update his nickname, homie. You can't still be called the prototype when you're pushing 264 and a half when you fought at middleweight. Just maybe update that aspect. You're not exactly the prototype, but you're an interesting fighter, Jake. I'll say that much. Still using the old 185 picture here, so that's what Jake used to look like. 32 years old now, fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri. So definitely out of No Excuse MMA. Are you familiar with that camp at all?
Sure.
No?
No, not at all.
Okay, yeah. No excuses and no familiarity from me either. I don't know if you remember his last fight, but he got a decision win over John Vellante, where both guys were pretty gassed after about 3.5 minutes. Before that, after 3.5 years off, he got Tom Aspinall, which is a real rough draw of it. So, he got put away really quick. So, well, it's like embarrassing he got put away quick. You might as well, if you're going to face a guy like Aspinall, not take a bunch of damage and just get out quickly. And got his next fight, got a decision. Again, with Carlos Felipe, he's in there with another guy very similar in stature and athleticism to him. Carlos Felipe, not exactly a world-class athlete, but very aggressive Brazilian boxer, 26 years old, 6 foot. So we got 6 foot versus 6'1", 75-inch reach to 74-inch reach. Both guys are going to be pushing that 265 limit on fight night. Carlos Felipe kind of just stood in the middle and banged with Justin Tafa for the last 4 minutes of the fight. It was a split decision. Both guys were really landing, but with Felipe, if you're going to kind of just do that pure phone booth fight, a lot of times he's going to win because he just throws more. He doesn't throw straight shots at all. It's a lot of looping. Some will hit, and he's got kind of, I think, surprising pop to some, but he's faced so far in his career Sergey Spivak, who pretty much controlled him until he gassed out. But Sergey Spivak did win that fight. I don't think it was a majority decision. I think he won it unanimously. And then he faced Jorgen De Castro and Justin Tafa, both who don't throw much. I'm not saying Jake Collier throws a lot either, but he does throw a little bit of a variety that maybe could keep Felipe a little bit away, and with those hooks not being able to reach him. Overall, with this one, I'm just not crazy about the price on Felipe. I don't really trust him overall. I think I know he's 10-1, but I'm just not gonna put a lot on Carlos Felipe in a 14-fight UFC card here. So Carlos Felipe is a -170. Jake Collier's +150. It's dog or pass for me, but frankly, I don't want to put a lot of my money on either of these guys. But I think it's going to be a decision where we could hear both guys' names, aka a split. So I'll take Jake Collier, the dog, split decision. But I don't expect a lot out of this one. They got it right with this being the first fight of the night.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny because when I checked Jake's profile earlier, it really kind of confused me because I was like, did I click on the wrong profile? Like, this isn't.
No, it's like your Tinder pic versus how you look in real life.
Yeah, right. Like, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't right. But then going to figure out, it's just an old picture because he's been fighting forever. I think this comes down to gas. You know what I mean? Whoever's gas tanks holds up the best, because they're both, in all honesty, kind of undersized heavyweights. They're big, they weigh enough to be a heavyweight, but honestly, they probably could fight at a lower weight if they really wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I I'm going with Jake too, just because neither one of these guys. This is kind of like earlier on in the card, it's kind of like a toss up all the way up because a lot of these guys have been fighting in different promotions and not the UFC. So I'm tend to go with the guy with more experiences early on in the card, especially with someone who hasn't looked that impressive.
Yeah, and here's some good. We got our little unofficial co-host of MMA Wagers. He followed me over, and that's Brandon, of course, did the Bellator breakdown. But Jay Collier's recent odds, plus 150 odds against Vellante, which I slammed. Couldn't believe the Vellante was a favorite against anybody in 2020. And then plus 245 he lost, which it's crazy. He was only a plus 245 against Aspinall. But yeah, and it's just it's win-loss. So he is due for a loss. He doesn't put together 2 wins. That is a trend for sure. And Felipe is 26 years old also. He got signed by the UFC, I think, at 23 years old, then had a USADA issue. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of hype, and no one believes in Carlos Felipe more than Carlos Felipe. That's what I will say. Like he really believes he's like the most dangerous guy in there, and I think volume could take over. And but counting on either of these guys for gas, that is to me feels like an ultimate gamble.
Yeah,
it's so. We will see, but next fight here, I think a very good fight in the lightweight division between Fares Ziam, the Frenchman. 11-3, taking on Luigi Vendrame. Great name. 9-1 out of Brazil. 25-24. So we got 2 young up and comers here. One fighting out Bulgarian top team in Ziam, while constrictor team for the Italian stallion Luigi Vendrame. He gets a point off for lack of originality on his nickname.
I know how you Brazil and call yourself the Italian style.
Yeah, that's real fucked, bro. I guess he just watched Rocky a bunch in his favela probably growing up.
Yes.
It was probably a dubbed over Portuguese version of it too, and they would just be like blah, 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 Italian stallion. Just
that was it. That's the name. He's
yeah, he doesn't even know what it means. Vettori's probably going to corner him and yell at him for not being a real Italian. But Luigi, he at least is named Luigi, so he's got that. Fighting on constrictor team, coming off a really impressive first round finish of Jason Ayari, a real solid veteran, 16-5 guy. Finished him inside of 2 minutes. Before that, Luigi took a short notice fight against one of my favorite guys at 170. No one talks about him. Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. I am obsessed with him. I think he is one of the most underappreciated guys. I think he got robbed against Muslav Salikov a little while ago, but capoeira style striker. He got knocked out by him. No shame there. He stepped up a weight class for that one. And then once he got down to lightweight, against Jason Ayari, a guy who I really respect, he put him away real quick. So Luigi's going to be coming into this fight with a lot of belief in himself. That was back in October of 2020. Prior to that, UFC didn't face a crazy level of competition. Faced 0-0 guys, 0-1, 0-2. Finally got a 6-3 guy and a 7-6 guy towards the end of his regional career, but you got to kind of wonder about that lack of talent and why he would go that route, especially with Brazil. There's plenty of Brazilian regional talent, but that's just something I noticed. The smile killer Fares Ziam out of France, 24 years old, so 24-25 here, 5'8" versus 6'1". However, that's right away what I noticed. Ziam will have the reach advantage, use a lot of movement, also has quite a bit of volume to his striking. He's a French kickboxer though, so it definitely is when you get him onto his back, or you can get him down and onto his back. Jamie Malarkey had 5 takedowns on 11 attempts against him, but Ziam was able to get up, but that's a lot of takedowns. Don Madge in his debut also was able to exploit that. But Don Madge is really, I rate quite highly as well. we saw how Malarkey looked in his last fight. Put away. I'm blanking on his name right now. Black Star. But I'm just blanking on his name right now. It starts with a K.
He was really popular for a while.
Yeah, and he's been knocked out 6 or 7 times though. So, but Malarkey put him away. And Luigi, definitely a finishing machine. 9-9 on his finishes, 7 of 9 in the first round, 5 KOs and 4 submissions, and he lost by a KO. And he's training on Factory Muay Thai X as well as Constrictor. Thanks for that info. This is a interesting matchup. I think that ZM has technical advantage on the feet, but I just think that Luigi's going to have more of that dog in him. Definitely going to be looking for those takedowns that Malarkey was able to exploit. And I think that Luigi, has shown that he has a good submission skill game as well. I think that getting it down to the ground and using those submissions is his best route to victory here. 2 rear naked choke losses for ZM in his career as well. 1 to a 3-2 fella and 1 to a 22-10 guy. I like Luigi Venturimi here, and I like him to get a submission finish in round number 2. I think like 4 or 5 takedowns we're going to see in these first couple rounds too.
This is where we begin to split.
The honeymoon's over.
The honeymoon is only 2 fights in. Unbelievable. But it's Luigi, he's super impressive. Like his finishing ability is really impressive. But like I said earlier, especially early on in the cards, your UFC experience kind of matters to me. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been so many times I've fallen in love with people with their work outside of the UFC on like a regional, more regional or lower than UFC level, and then they get to the UFC and it just doesn't pan out. ZM, I've at least seen him go the distance. You know what I'm saying? Luigi, his one fight, it lasted. It was under a minute. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a minute 12. Minute 12.
It was a minute 12. So as impressive as that is, you know what I'm saying?
You don't find out a lot.
You don't find out that much. You know what I'm saying? It was like, can he does he have finishing capabilities? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But and I 100% could see him finishing ZM, but I'm gonna go with there wasn't a whole lot more to see, but at least I could see him go 15 minutes and battle that out and gut out a decision. So I'm gonna go with ZM on here.
Yeah, I just want to point out with Jason Iari, who he did finish, the previous 2 opponents of Jason Iari in the UFC were Stevie Ray and Darren Till, and neither one finished him.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah. But we're also seeing Luigi down at 155 for the first time, so we got to see how that weight cut does for him. Both of these guys are in their mid-20s, ever improving. It's a really good matchup. Whoever comes out of this matchup is definitely a new kind of prospect or potential contender in this division. The odds are very, very close. Minus 135 to ZM, plus 115 for Luigi. So I totally understand that. Looks like I got the slight dog here. I've taken 2 dogs in 2 fights here. So they call me Aaron the Dog for some reason. I guess that tonight it's going to be because I'm in love with the dogs, and I love this number, plus 550 on the sub. I'll take that. I'll take that prop bet for Luigi. I do think that Luigi would be smart not to fall in love with his striking, use his takedowns here. I do think he has a size and strength advantage, and it's all down to that weight cut. So I'm putting a little bit down on Luigi right now, but I definitely want to see what it looks like, what he looks like on the scales for the weigh-ins.
It'll be interesting because also too, because you said, is this his first fight at 55?
Let me see if he's fought ever at 155. I know it's the first in the UFC because on the last 2 is at 170. Let me just check here. Samurai fights, he did fight at lightweight back in Samurai fights. So I think all his fights previous to UFC were at lightweight. So he kind of stepped in, against Zaleski dos Santos, and then took another year or so off, and then still came back at welterweight, had a really good welterweight appearance, and now he's at lightweight. What are your kind of thoughts on why that would be?
I mean, it was just it was interesting because if he was coming down, then he would be going against a person with a bigger frame who also has is used to the lightweight speed. You know what I'm saying? Every weight class you go down, it gets a little bit faster. So
Right.
It'll be kind of interesting. But since now looking at it that he's fought at lightweight before, he knows what he's doing. But that was
and he's still young to where I would think that he's able to make those cuts. It's not like he's 34, 35 years old. He's still in his mid-20s. So yeah, our first disagreement. I think it's a fair disagreement as well. I won't be our last one for sure. Curious about this fight. Oh my God. Steven Ocho Peterson. He's back after about 2 years off or so. Wild man taking on Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, the dream. Chase Hooper, 10-1-1, taking on an 18-9 Steven Ocho Peterson at Fortis MMA. I love that record of 18-9. Make some mistakes along the way and learn from them. I'll start with Chase Hooper, 10-1-1, 6'1", still 21 years old. Fighting out of someplace in Wisconsin, Umaquahk, Wisconsin. He's been training lately with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So definitely a good place to be training, getting in a lot of good rounds there, working on his biggest weakness, which is certainly that stand-up, both offensively and defensively. Chase Hooper looks bad on the feet, and his head goes back like a Pez dispenser when it gets hit, whether it was David Tamer, whether it was, and definitely against Alex Caceres we saw. And even Peter Barrett got quite a bit until Chase Hooper, who was down, I believe, 2-0 in that fight, came back and won, and Peter Barrett no longer in the UFC. Were you saying something? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was agreeing with you that he 100% lost that fight. He was losing, so he got the
definitely. And Tamer, he was losing that first round until he got into a really nice grappling position. But props to him. I mean, he's winning these fights, but to me, I think Chase Hooper is in the UFC too soon, and he's suffered against Alex Caceres a real bad beatdown. And didn't go down, and I think that was a mistake because he took way more shots and way more damage, and the holes got quite exploited here. They're definitely trying to get Chase Hooper a win here, giving him a guy like Steven Peterson. Steven Peterson, definitely not technical, but very, very game. Had a fantastic knockout of Martin Bravo in September of 2019, where Martin Bravo, who won the Ultimate Fighter Latin America, so very good winner there. He was going for a spinning back fist. He missed the spinning back fist, and then right after it, Steven Peterson hit him with a spinning back fist, knocked him out. It was a really good fight and a huge win for Steven Peterson. Steven Peterson also lost to Alex Caceres, lost the decision to Luis Pena, had a split decision over Matt Bissett, and lost to Brandon Davis. So, yeah, so far, I'm not seeing a ton out of Steven Peterson in his UFC career. He even has a loss to Benito Lopez on the Contender Series, which that certainly hasn't aged great. Peterson definitely wins a lot. Wins fights against, his best wins are Martin Bravo and Matt Bissett, but besides that, lost 6-4 guys, 12-1 or 12-11, I should say. Beat Erwin Rivera. So Steven Peterson, he's just kind of a gamer. He definitely will have a striking advantage over Chase Hooper, and has not been submitted, I believe, ever. If not, he got submitted once, and it was very early on. I'm checking that right now. I don't believe that Steven Peterson has ever been submitted. So he's only been finished once, and it was by strikes, which, Hooper gets him into a ground and pound position, he could do, certainly. But I don't know. I don't really have a super clear read on this fight. I've kind of been back and forth. I I just think that Steven Peterson can avoid the submission. So, and I think he wins a decision. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Steven Peterson to win a decision here, just simply being the better striker and being able to – Chase Hooper won't be able to wrestle him down or pull guard even, so I wouldn't think. So, yeah, that's my opinion on it. What are your thoughts?
Man, and honestly, this is one of those things where I really wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. But
if Steven Peterson gets submitted here, I think Chase Hooper has a kind of jiu-jitsu that gets a lot of guys their first or second submission losses. He is definitely a wonder kid on the ground. But sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
You're fine. I think is what you said earlier. I think I think they're giving him Steven Peterson for a reason, and it's kind of because he's been better on the feet than what we've seen because Chase Hooper's striking game has been like non-existent up to this point. But
non-existent.
So it's not very hard to be better than Chase on the feet up to this point. But Wonder Boy, I think that's a good place for him to go and learn strike. I didn't know he was over there with them. I must be out of the loop because Wonder Boy's not that far away from me. I kind of want to go over there and
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if we can tweet him out, get a little bit of love, or maybe there's some, television program that he'll be watching, maybe get a little attention on Bryan.
Maybe I saw Wonder Boy the other day at a local fight. I digress. I don't want to get to you. But no, I think the upstate style, the pitch black style of striking kind of really complements his style because he can throw all the kicks he wants. You know what I mean? And it's a super frustrating kind of style to have to go against because it's really unorthodox. And so I'm, like I said, I could really see it going either way. I can.
Yeah, this is one of my least confident picks of the night. I will say that right off the bat. This feels like a low-level women's MMA fight that I'm breaking down here. And what I mean is, there's a lot of times I love the female MMA. I love the female MMA. Honestly, some of my favorite fights are women fights and all that. So it's not. I'm not saying. I'm just saying because it's those younger divisions when they're lower level, you just see two and you're like, sometimes I have LFA fights I'm breaking down. I'm like, I don't know. Like they're both like 4-3.
No,
I don't think either one of these guys should be in the UFC exactly. I think this could be headlining in an island fights or a Titan FC where it really should be right now.
Yeah. No. And just to close on my thought, I'm Chase because I think I'm only picking Chase just on the fact that he knows that how important it is to win this fight. I think he's younger and he has the ability to progress quicker than Steven Peterson does. You know what I'm saying? He's younger in his career. If he can pick up the upstate style and execute it, then it'll be a really interesting fight. But I can 100% see it going either way. I'm picking Chase, honestly, from where I'm at, just because I like better.
Yeah, someone's trying to get into a gym. I get it. Uh-huh. That's fine. If I could get into Wonder Boy's gym by picking his guy, I would too. But no, I get it. I mean, Hooper's got the get out button in this, which is the method of finishing. I don't exactly, I mean, Ocho also could get the knockout though. I mean, I feel like the knockout by Steven Peterson is almost as likely as the submission by Hooper.
I agree.
And just real quick, MMA wagers, what's the over-under on how many times Joe criticizes Hooper striking? I'll say 3.5. I'll set it at over-under 3.5 times that Joe Rogan makes fun of Chase Hooper striking.
That's generous. I think that's generous. I don't know. Maybe I have to. I feel they spent
does he say it less than 3 times or more than 3 times?
More than 3 times.
All right, he's taking the over. I'm going to go with the upset and take the under here. I think he only mentions it maybe once. He might mention more in this fight. Hooper looking impressive simply by throwing like a oblique kick or something.
See, and that's what. As soon as I thought about it after I said it, because Chase's striking does get better, then he's going to mention it a lot, but in the other direction.
Right. And like Joe Rogan is commentator / promoter for the UFC. We all know that at this point with his commentary. So he's not about to be poo-pooing the American or teenage dream or whatever dream Chase Hooper is at this point. So
lands one hit, they're going to go crazy. If he
one head kick, especially like a teeth kick or something. Yeah, no, the house will burn down. You got the underdog here. You got the plus 100 underdog in Chase Hooper. I am really surprised that Steven Peterson is a favorite in the UFC, minus 120. That is wild. No, thank you. Pass all the way for me as a bettor. I am not betting Steven Peterson as a favorite. Not never.
Yeah.
That's wild. This next fight here, I am super excited for. Last fight, by the way, was at 145. I might have misspoke. I'm not sure. This fight at 155, lightweight short notice replacement in Mr. Terence McKinney, who I have been in close contact with over on the Instagram, been talking with him quite a bit, and definitely he's very focused for this fight. A big thing that they will definitely mention is definitely Terence's past. He had 5 years ago a pretty serious drug incident that happened, took a combination of drugs, and ended up getting they ended up having to call the police because he was freaking out. So as we know, anytime there's police involved with anybody with drugs, but especially a black dude with drugs who's out of control, like we know what's going down. Usually a lot of times in those situations, I shouldn't say usually, but fortunately they're able to apprehend him. His heart stopped 2 times on the way to the fucking airport or hospital. Doesn't go into airport, hospital. I mean, so it's a similar story to Court McGee, a few other guys. There's a lot of guys who just had these wild kind of histories, which, the wrestling and the fighting was an outlet for him. Terence McKinney was getting ready to attempt to be in the Olympics at that point in wrestling, lost his Olympic career. But either way, this guy's story is absolutely wild. I've been able to break down a couple of his fights lately as well with my LFA breakdowns. And interestingly enough, I'll be honest, 2 fights ago against Tonino Govino, I picked Govino. And Terence McKinney happened to watch the LFA breakdown that night, commented on it, said, "You're going to be wrong on that pick, but appreciate and respect what you do anyways." He liked the video. He liked the tweet, but said, "I would not bet that if I were you." And then right after, you got a 17-second head kick knockout of Govino, who had never been finished, knocked him out in 17 seconds clean. And then said afterwards, "Told you." So after that, started talking to him quite a bit more. He had another fight in the LFA less than 2 months later against, this was just June 4th, actually, against Michael Izari Ortiz, a 12-3 guy. Put him away with strikes again in 1 minute, 12 seconds. This is a guy who is really known for his wrestling, was an amateur wrestling background, college state champion wrestler. As I said, was attempting to be an Olympian as well. But he's really, solidified the grappling and clearly worked on his striking, because early on, a lot of submission wins for him, a variety of submission wins. And now, I mean, when he's throwing these head kicks, he's throwing them so hard, he's going off of his feet. I mean, like they are really, really hard shots. He hits people hard with his hands and feet. I think this is a really fascinating short notice fight here. His last fight was at a catchweight of 160. Before that, he was fighting at lightweight. So he's not taking this fight up a division or anything. He's going to be bigger than Matt Frivola. I think he did keep his weight very in check because he was ready for a situation like this, coming off of 2 1 minute or less knockouts. He had his fight on the Contender Series against Sean against I'm blanking on his name, the Sean Woodson. I'm sorry, the 6'1" kickboxer. We just saw Sean Woodson pick up a huge win this past weekend. He ended up finishing Terence with a flying knee, but Terence was winning that fight before then. But really, I think learned quite a bit from that. Taking on Matt Steamroller Frevola, 8-2-1, 31-year-old out of Gracie, Tampa South now. Also spent some time with Coach Mark Henry. Originally was supposed to face Frank Camacho. Way easier matchup, in my opinion, than this new matchup. Way less dangerous of a matchup. Unfortunately, Frank Camacho got in a car accident, so definitely hoping him a quick recovery. Matt Frevola has not fought since facing Arman Sarukian at the beginning of the year, where Sarukian just kind of dominated him. Before that, won a very sketchy split decision over Luis Pena, which I don't think he won personally. Yeah, I just think that this is a really, really good spot for McKinney coming in here on short notice. I think that I've been able to talk to a few opponents who face Matt Frevola who have said one thing pretty consistently. He hits some of the softest hitting that they've ever faced of any of their fighters. 2 different fighters have said that who have faced Matt Frevola, one of which won against him, so it wasn't just sour grapes. But I think that if you're not able to keep Terence McKinney off, you keep Terence McKinney from rushing early. I don't exactly have the confidence here that Frevola is going to be able to survive it. We saw against Polo Reyes, not a great guy. That first minute, everything Polo Reyes threw was landing on Matt, and Matt's chin was not holding up against that. McKinney does not trust the judges. 4 KOs, 6 submissions, 10 of 10 on finishes, 9 of 10 coming in round 1. I see when it's a short notice guy, first of all, you're going out there and you know that most likely your gas isn't going to be 100%, which I think Terence's is going to be close. But his last fight was at a catch weight, so he is going to have to cut some weight here. But you see short notice guys, they come in, they blitz, they go for that first round finish. And that's what McKinney's been doing in fights with notice, without notice. I really like McKinney here, man. I've fallen in love with the story, but I think that the ups and downs he's faced have made him a better overall fighter, not just inside the octagon, but outside the octagon. Nothing to lose here for McKinney. He's going to get another shot. And I think he's the bigger guy. I think he's the better guy. He hits harder. Frevola's going to have to wrestle, and McKinney can wrestle, man. He can wrestle really well. So give me McKinney all day here, man. And I love the odds as well. Love the odds. But what are your thoughts on this fight?
You know, I got to be honest with you, man. You know, you are the primary source of information on this podcast, but I've never felt more out information than I have just now. My man had the scoop on both guys. I was like, come on, man.
Dude, I'm trying to make this channel worth it, man. Now it's my name. I gotta be behind it. That
was killer. Yeah. That
Thanks,
was because McKinney was the person who was like the darling. Like I was like I wanted to pick him, but I was like I didn't have the confidence to pick him over the vet. You know, even though you know he's had some close calls. You know, what I'm saying he. You know, it's tough. The Luis Pena fight was kind of weird, but you know, at the end of the day, he still got the W. You know, but it was something where you know Jalen Turner, that was a good win. But it was something where it was like it was like I was kind of just like wanting to go safe and go with experience over the youth, but man, dude, you got my gears turning, man. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking now. I'm like, damn, man. I kind of want to, because you know I want McKinney to win. He seems like a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? I like the way he fights. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, it's always fun to watch finishers. I will say, you know what, for the sake of things, I'm going Matt Steve.
Wow.
That's what I can't be swayed.
It's fair. I mean, Matt is the one who's been prepping for a fight for 8 weeks. And not taking 3 fights in 3 months.
Yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. But I mean, with that being said, I mean, Terence is hot right now, and there's something to be said about having momentum. I mean, look at he's lost twice this year. He just lost to
Zalal. Yusuf Zalal.
No, he just lost to Vettori. Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland. Right. Yeah, both guys took a ton of fights, and it both benefited and hurt.
Yeah, so.
You got Favola by decision then? Kind of a wrestle fuck?
But before I got hit with all the little insider information, I had Matt Favola by decision. That's what I had.
That's totally respectable. So I mean, this is McKinney literally fought less than a week ago. Yeah, he fought on my mom's birthday. I mean, this is like really a wild turnaround for him for sure. I'm gonna roll with him. Favola -245 favorite, so definitely the odds makers are both with the UFC experience and the 3 fights in 3 months, the short notice for McKinney. The odds makers are going with Favola. I think that price is a little bit crazy, but I can understand it all the way around. This is a tough spot for McKinney. I'm still going to go with it, and I got the magic number of +200 on it as well. So let's go. I'm going to be giving my dog a shot in Terence McKinney. He will be coming on here soon. So maybe I am slightly biased, but I am able to separate my personal feelings from my picks at all points because I am first and foremost trying to, make the right reads. And I think that's doing respect to the fighters. I don't pick against a fighter to disrespect them. I'm picking because it's all love. It's all respect here, honestly. So best of luck to Terence, though. I will be rooting for you, and I also will have a bet down on you, so that's the best of both worlds. Next fight here, decent 135, a fight between Pani Kianzad, who's definitely really starting to improve and come into her own at 29 years old at 135, 5'7", taking on Alexis Alligator Davis, the veteran, now 36 years old, coming off a big win against Sabina Mazo. I had Alexis Davis in that fight as well. Alexis Davis just went in there, pressured, was coming off of 3 straight losses, but they were to Caitlin Chikagian, Jennifer Maya, and Viviane Araujo, in which she won the second round in all of those fights, interestingly enough. And she also won the second round and third round in the Sabina Mazo fight. But Mazo really fought a very poor game plan in that fight and very one-dimensional. And I think Sabina Mazo might be a little bit overrated, and we're starting to find that out. But we'll see. She's still young. But Pani Kianzad, 29 years old, 5'7", 66-inch reach, fighting out of Arte Suave, Jim. Don't know about what that is. She's currently on a 3-fight win streak. Jessica Rose Clark, very solid win there. Betch Kohea and Sajara Eubanks, all of those very solid wins, good veteran wins. Fight very similar to Alexis Davis. Definitely learned from her debut where she lost to Julia Avila by decision, it appears. This is a tough one. I really do like Alexis Davis. I respect her quite a bit. I just think Pani is just a little bit going to be able to mix it up a little bit. But, the striking acumen for Alexis Davis, over 100 strikes in 5 of her last 6 fights. And then we did see with Pani, she's had a little bit of a striking issue with 39 strikes and 30 in her last couple, but those or in the ones before her last couple, her last 2 were 132 and 106. So she started to figure out her, her overall volume issue. But this is going to be 2 volume strikers. It's probably going to go to decision. It's probably going to be 2 rounds one way, 1 round another way. So not a fight I'm looking to put a lot on. I do anticipate Pani is the favorite, which I thought she would be, -225. That's crazy to me. Alexis Davis has been there with some of the best girls, only lost to the best of the best, and I'm not quite ready to say Pani is the best of the best. So you know what? I'm going with a very unconfident Alexis Davis decision win.
All right. Okay. I mean, the thing is funny because I can feel it. I mean, I'm surprised, but I can also.
It's level of competition here in Pani. The 39 and 30 strikes. Those are, it's been good to see the volume increase lately, but I think the power is going to be on Alexis's side and possibly the grappling as well as the volume. So I think Alexis really does check a lot of boxes here. 36 is not too old for the bantamweight division at all either. So yeah, give me Alexis. She's got to win 2 rounds.
All right.
Mom power.
Oh man, and I tell you, this is how crazy the Ronda Rousey era was and how fast it was. I did not realize Alexis Davis had fought Ronda Rousey back then.
Yes. Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
Yeah. With that being said, and even though it's kind of weird because Pani, her last beating Beth Cohea and Sarah Eubanks, you know what I'm saying? Those being her last 2 wins, it's like those are impressive on name value, but it's like on actual that's kind of like the difference between some of the women's divisions, some of the men's divisions. You got a name like Sarah Eubanks and she's 6-5. You know what I'm saying? Beth Cohea, even though she's 11-4, she's kind of suspect too. You know what I mean? With that being said, though, I'm still taking. Is her name pronounced Pani? Pani.
Pani, I say, but Pani.
That's a tough name. I'm taking her to win. You know what I'm saying? It's just because she's. I feel like Alexis is on the other end of her career. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she, like you said, she's only 36, but she's been fighting forever, dude. She's been fighting.
No, definitely.
2007. So, but it's a women's fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think those odds are still a little bit high there. I can totally understand Pani being the favorite, but those odds are pretty massive.
Yeah, I'm not putting money on her, but if I'm just making a pick, just from a pick for the sake of making a pick, I'm picking Pani.
Yeah, and we're going to be keeping track of our picks every week, so we will be keeping a running tally, and we have plenty of disagreements so far on this one. Yeah. Unfortunately, I keep being – maybe not unfortunately, we'll see, but I keep being on the dog end of the stick here. Once again, with Alexis Davis plus 175, give me that doggo. So let's go. Aaron the dog needs to hit some dogs on Saturday. Next fight here, 145 prelim between Mosavar Ivolev and Hakeem Dawodu. What'd you say?
I was just saying, traditionally, you normally kick my butt on the prelims. I do my very best, but I'm a main card picker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, because we'll definitely have to see. But this is a great fight at 145 between a Canadian and Russian prospect. 12-1-1 Hakeem Dawodu. The Canadian prospect taking on 14-0 Movsar Ivolev. Now fighting at featherweight, 27 versus 29, nearly 30. So both guys in that prime, 5'7" versus 5'8", 72.5 versus 72. Tiger Muay Thai versus Championship Creed. Don't really know about Championship Creed, but we know about Tiger Muay Thai. Also trains over in Russia, grappling as well with Fight Club Nart. Coming off of a split decision win over Nick Lentz, though. Not what you like to see at all, especially at the stage in the career that Nick Lentz was at. But definitely a tough fight. He's faced in his last 3 tough, grinding grapplers in Enrique Barzola, Mike Grundy, and Nick Lentz. He's won all 14 of his fights, also beat Sung Woo Choi, yet to get a finish in his UFC career. But besides the Nick Lentz fight, in a few 1 or 2 other rounds, I think that he's looked very good so far, very grappling based, uses a lot of cage control, doesn't always have the most exciting striking. Hakeem the Mean Dawodu very good Taekwondo practitioner, 12-1-1, as I said, fighting out of Canada. He's had a few split decisions lately. I believe 3 of his last 4, to be exact, have been split decisions over Kyle Boxniak, Julio Arce, and Zubair Tukov. In his last 2 fights have both been split decisions. I think that this one goes over 2.5 rounds. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't really know which way I'm completely heading. It's just so close to me, I think, but I'll take Evelev to get a 29-28 decision. I just see both guys being able to take a round or 2, depending on who, off of each other. And yeah, I like Evelev in this spot to take the decision, using a lot of wrestling. We are back in the larger octagon in Glendale, away from the Apex, smaller octagon, so that could be an advantage for the Taekwondo practitioner in Hakeem.
Well, we're back on the same page. I'm taking Mosar. Did I just butcher his name? I know you just said it 3 times too.
Mosar Evelev.
It's just because once again, you know, it's interesting there because their past couple fights, they've both been decision machines. But like Hakeem, even though he is more impressive looking on paper, if you just like look at what he's capable of, you know, he's been getting split decisions, and I don't think Evelev's going to play that game at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to give him a chance to start getting off. You know, it'll be pretty interesting. I can see. I feel pretty confident in Evelev just going out there and getting the job done and just grinding them out. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what Hakeem the Dream has in the tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until Evelev gets to that upper top 10, it's going to be really hard to see him not being able to kind of do his thing. You know, it's like obviously a lot of heavy odds for Movizar, like minus 705s, minus 450s, minus 1400s. But he's backing them up, you know, and Hakeem's backed up most of his as well, but his have been very close, minus 105s, minus 120s. Never has cashed as a large dog, never has been a large dog. So it's an interesting fight, very close fight. You know,
it'll be a good fight. I mean, you know, just looking at the records, you know, 12-1-1, 14-0. Those are like some really great prospect records, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
you know, both of them have had kind of suspect. I shouldn't say suspect, but you know, they still have a lot to prove. So it'll be interesting watching this fight and seeing what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but these prelims are insane. I mean, just insane. Our next prelim, women's flyweight potential title eliminator here between Lauren Murphy, 14-4, lucky Lauren Murphy, and Joanne Calderwood, who had a title shot lined up, you know, really before she took that fight against Jennifer Maia, where Jennifer Maia got the quick submission. And, you know, it's, you know, and it's just, so like just one of these things where she took an unnecessary risk and has really paid for it. And now she's fighting on the prelims, man. Like, this is crazy that these two are on the prelims. I don't, and not even the featured prelim. I really not crazy about that, if I'm being honest. But I've heard Lauren Murphy going into this week, she's very self-aware and very comfortable with her position, and realizing that if I don't have an impressive performance and go out there and get a finish, I'm not going to be fighting for a title next. And you don't hear that a lot, especially out of, you know, girls who are on you know, the 4-fight win streak, which Lauren Murphy's on, you know, but Joanne Calderwood, we know what we're getting out of both these girls, 35 and 37. You know, at least they're fighting each other. But it's, if neither one of these get a finish, they're going to be in a similar situation in their next fight where they're facing someone similar in the rankings in a prelim type of position. So it's a weird, this is a weird fight for me to kind of try to figure out a prediction on. We got Syndicate MMA versus MMA Lab, so they're both going to come in with such good game plans. They have such similar skill levels, such similar skill acumens. I mean, it's one of these where it's hard to see where the other is going to get that light to get the finish. I just think this has decision all over it, and for whatever reason, most MMA fans and promoters don't value a decision. So you get a decision. It's not like you have to get a finish to get, the real goods, I guess you could say. But I think of these two, I think Lauren Murphy by far has a better chance of getting a finish. She has way more power in her hands, puts way more pressure on her opponent. But I think it's a decision either way. I like Lauren Murphy personally. I think sometimes JoJo can get herself backed up. Sometimes does not use enough volume with the movement. So I think Lauren Murphy has good enough movement to where she's not just going to be running forward trying to get a quick finish at all. But I think she's, definitely the, one. and here's Brandon. What do I know? JoJo lands the most strikes landed per minute, but how many of those honestly are significant strikes? So I get she has, the third most significant strikes, he says, and these are fourth most strikes landed, most strikes per minute. Those strikes per minute, I don't know how many of those are significant strikes. Not
real significant strikes.
Yeah, like I don't think JoJo has much power. I think that it could be one of these where you see the numbers and you see JoJo lands more strikes, but Lauren Murphy has the more impact on her strikes, and that's what the judges are looking for. It's not a boxing match where it's just pure, CompuStrike strike numbers and whoever has it's much more than that. So I like Lauren Murphy here. I know she's a slight dog as well, and I just think that she's got a little more of the firepower here. But both girls don't get hit a lot, so there's not gonna be a finish here, in my opinion. I'm sure that the decision numbers are juiced on both sides. I like Lauren Murphy here, though. Close decision. There's a lot of close decisions.
Yeah, there's a ton of toss-ups up to this point.
It's crazy.
And looking at this, we picked a JoJo fight before, and I want to say I know it was at least me. She made me eat my words.
It was against Jennifer Maya, I believe that we broke down. Maya? I think it was because we definitely didn't pick Jessica I. I think it was Jessica I. I think it was. You picked Jessica I?
I think I picked Jessica I in that fight.
Oh, yeah hell no, I didn't.
I picked Jessica I, and she made me eat my words. But with all that said, I'm still picking Lauren Murphy. Oh. She's super hot right now, and like you said, I still not like JoJo. She's really game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she has 15 wins. She's beat some like really like tough chicks, but I think Lauren is just better than her right now. You know what I'm saying? I think Lauren, she's feeling her stuff. Either way it goes for both of them. Like you said, if this does propel one of these guys to the top of the weight division, either way they're still looking at freaking Valentina Shevchenko. So
and they're just looking for one more little shot at the title, but it's going to be rough.
Either way, neither one of these. I think Lauren matches up with her better. Personally, I think Lauren matches up with Shevchenko better, but I don't see it going well either way.
No, I definitely agree. I think Lauren matches up much better, and I think I'm really surprised here. JoJo is a minus 140 favorite, and the money is coming in, and the money's coming in on JoJo. Fade the public here, in my opinion. Lauren Murphy, a plus 120. I love that price. Love it. I think this is a pick 'em at worst for Lauren. So, again, for whatever reason, Lauren's not – I don't want to really make guesses, but with female MMA, a lot of times the reason why a fighter is an underdog can be pretty off topic from the fights, if you get my drift. And I think that's what's happening here.
Maybe.
I do.
Maybe.
Man, she's got, JoJo's got that pretty voice, and it's like she's got these tattoos. Like she's been on the Ultimate Fighter. So is Lauren Murphy. But when Lauren Murphy was on the Ultimate Fighter, we know the power of the edit, and the edit made Lauren Murphy look like she was a complete fool and like she didn't know what she was doing, and that sticks.
Agreed.
We know.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something? Sorry about that.
No, I just said agreed. I agree.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Yeah, it's just I just think that these are outside reasons as to why. And man, what up? I'm gonna assume this is Dave because it's definitely this is Dave. This is definitely Dave. Because damn straight, I'm money. Damn straight. Thanks for being here, Dave. It's so funny because I got the PFL. I got the PFL on mute here in the background. They still haven't started the main card. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I think they're like waiting for like the college track and field playoffs to be off of ESPN2 so they can be on there. So they've just had no fight going for like an hour in the PFL. Wow. Like they've just been like, it's just Sean.
If I was a fighter and that was going on, I would be livid, dude.
Like they were supposed to start the main card at 10. They haven't had a fight since like 9:15.
Wow. No, yeah. That would
Dude, this is shit that only happens outside the UFC. One does this too, where they'll like separate their cards. But anyways, this next fight, I'm not gonna have a whole lot to say about this one because I think we saw it all in the first one. Before the illegal knee, Eric Anders was absolutely tearing up Darren Stewart. And I had Darren Stewart in that fight. Darren Stewart was not going to be able to get the takedowns, both due to the physical size and strength of Eric Anders and just like the dentist is not called the dentist because he's a wrestler. But it's both guys throwing. If Darren Stewart gets the edge at the beginning and lands before Eric lands, he could do what Eric did to him. I can't unsee what I saw. And Eric Anders was demolishing him. And I definitely think that I got Eric Anders again here. Similar knockout first or second round. I mean, he was just landing, and I just think the confidence he's going to have coming in here is going to be what Eric needs to get the win. So I don't mean to not go into it too much. I love Darren Stewart. I'm a huge Darren Stewart fan. I picked Darren Stewart in the first fight, but that was a beatdown, and that knee wasn't the reason that fight should have been stopped, frankly. It should have been stopped before
that. What is there to say on this? You know what I'm saying? It's like it wasn't even that long ago that we saw this fight.
No.
It was a complete, because I had Darren picked on that fight too. We both had Darren picked. I remember we were both all smug and stuff talking about, how inconsistent Eric Anders was. And, he could come out and lay an egg on this.
Right. This is Eric Anders' MO, but it's just hard to unsee that so soon.
I know, because he beat him up bad, dude.
And you still carry the damage, including of the illegal knee, into this fight. That damage comes with you.
It wasn't that long ago. That's the worst part. It wasn't that long ago. So, there. I got Eric Anders. I got your boy by KO.
Yeah, that was back in March. That was back in March of 2021. So, been a few months, but that really is not a long time to recover from several concussive shots. And I mean, man,
how much better can you get in that much time?
Right.
Your ass whooped.
Yeah, and I mean, Eric Anders at middleweight is just a unit.
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy at 34 makes middleweight. I could easily see him coming into this fight at 190, and that would also scare me if he missed weight by 5 pounds and came in.
It's saying this is at 205.
Yeah, right. Well, but
okay.
Is this at 205?
Am I
crazy? It is at 205. My fault. So that's interesting because the last fight here between them was at middleweight.
It was at middleweight, yeah.
And Eric was way bigger at middle. This is only an advantage for Eric.
Yeah.
This is only an advantage. Why would Darren Stewart take this at 205?
Don't know. I don't know.
Why? Who is Darren Stewart's manager?
I don't.
That is not a good decision. No, this is 20 pounds less that Eric has to come. No.
Yeah.
No. Darren Stewart's going to come in at like 201 or something. He's going to. Oh,
I
no.
know. He's never fought at 205 in his
This is an apple pie shitter. If Eric Anders loses, I'm going to be losing a lot of money because Eric Anders is Eric Anders at 205 against Darren Stewart at 205. Eric Anders KO.
I mean, this has to be like a dick measuring contest kind of thing for Darren.
Damn,
Darren. People last time were talking about how much he's getting his ass whipped. He's like, you know what? I can not only can I beat him, but I can beat him at 205. It's just
such a bad call, bro. That's such. Has Darren Stewart ever fought at 205?
Not in the UFC, at least.
I met Darren Stewart in Boston. He is not a big fella. Like, he just is not wide framed, not a 205 frame. He's fought at middleweight when he faced. God, we are going way back to 2016. And 2016, he fought light heavyweight, got a no contest against Francis Barrasco. Yikes. And then he lost to Francis Barrasco at 205. And then he went down to middleweight because he was like, these dudes are too big. I think this is not a good idea for Darren. I'm a huge Darren Stewart fan as well. But I think Eric Anders KO is a prop bet I'm going to be making. Period. So
I concur.
We're on to the featured prelim. We are finally to the featured prelim. I think we've been making really, breaking these fights down really well. This is a long card. It's got, I believe, 8 or 9 on the prelims due to it being a 14-fight card, and we end with a kickboxing bout, basically, between Brad Riddell and Drew Dober. Brad Riddell 9-1, taking on the 23-10 veteran in Drew Dober. I will start with Brad Quake Riddell fighting on New Zealand. As far as Tiger Muay Thai and City Kickboxing. So definitely he's coming into this fight ready to kickbox, ready to bang. He's 5'7". He's a little guy. He's got a set. I've never seen this reach dimension before. 71.3 inch reach. Very specific. So must have just went to the doctor and gotten his physical. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my battery because I've been running podcasts all day. So sorry for that. All right. 29 years old though. City Kickboxing obviously is he also on the card. Brad Riddell is currently on a 6-fight win streak. Last 3 have come in the UFC over Jamie Malarkey, Magomed Mustaev, and Alex De Silva. So Mustaev, really impressive win. Malarkey obviously has looked better. It's Worthy. He beat Malarkey beat Worthy. That Kama Worthy. That's the name. So I just had to get that out of my head. But before that, Malarkey had lost 2 straight. So I don't want to overrate a win over Malarkey too much for these guys who have that, because I'm not sure how good Malarkey is either. Alex De Silva was a Brazilian with a 21-0 padded record, who since being in the UFC has been certainly exposed. This is going to be by far Riddell's biggest test of his career. I won't say by far. I do respect Musaev, but I think Dober is better. Obviously, Drew Dober coming off of his loss to Islam Makhachev. Only guy who would fight Islam right now, frankly. Islam kind of blew the doors off him with the takedowns, which is not going to be an issue here. Fighting on Team Elevation, one of the best teams in the sport right now, in my opinion. Had a really impressive finish of Alexander Hernandez. That's a fight in a lot of ways that this kind of Brad Riddell fight resembles to me, except that Alex Hernandez had to thread the takedown. Brad Riddell doesn't. I really like Drew Dober's experience. I like the fact that he's faced some adversity with a few losses here. Most of his losses do come by grappling, however, and that's not how Riddell is going to win this fight. So we've seen against guys like Polo Reyes, Dauber looked really good. So when it's a pure stand-up fight against a guy like Nazarat, looked really good with the stand-up again. Frank Camacho, these pure stand-up fighters, Dauber usually comes out on top. I do think right now, after that Islam fight, fighting a guy like Riddell is going to be a huge step down in competition for Dauber. 34 fights to 10 fights. Give me Drew Dauber here.
Well, man, you know, I gotta go. This is because I'm basically a member of Tiger Muay Thai now. Being Team Volk and a member of Freestyle MMA and a member of City Kickboxing. So I gotta go with Brad Riddell. You know what I'm saying? It's because we're basically teammates now. So
Oh, you're right. Yeah, of course. Man, I love that after our first week, we're going to have such a difference in the results column. Like,
I know.
I hope one of us has a banger night, and it's just like a 6-7 fight difference after the first card.
Man, I know. It's going to be and honestly, I'm kind of nervous because last time it was this different. It didn't go that well for me. But you know what? I have my picks. I gotta.
Hey, man, you finally at least are on the dog side of a disagreement here. Brad Riddell plus 125. Plus 125 dog, Drew Dauber minus 145. Getting a little bit of feedback on your end, I think.
Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, really close odds. I mean, throughout this card, we keep saying minus 140, minus 130. I mean, I love it. I love when cards are this closely matched up because you can really just go with a lot of singles, go with a lot of double parlays. You don't do 4 or 5 fight parlays on this card. This is not the card for it. It just isn't, because you'll have one where the Lauren Murphy comes in and then Ziam comes in, or, it's just like, it's going to be all over the place. Every MMA fight card really is, but this one especially. I mean, when the biggest favorite is, a minus 600 and the rest of the fights are really close. I mean, you got to love that. So, again, we're on opposite sides here. Drew Dauber for me, Brad Riddell for you. I'm going to take Drew Dauber. I'm going to take him to get a finish, actually. So I like the KO round 2 or round 3 for me.
I also have Brad Riddell by finish. I'll say round 2 KO.
Yeah, you don't even got to say KO or a sub. You can just say finish. We know what it's going to be with Brad. Maybe he takes on a leg lock from Craig Jones. Fuck Craig Jones.
Man, listen, fuck Craig Jones. Fuck that guy.
Fuck him and his leopard speedo and his OnlyFans.
We asked, we're like, what's the deal with, the fuck Craig Jones thing? And Joe Volk's coach, he was like, have you met the guy? And then as soon as he said that, I was like, you know what, you're right. Fuck that guy.
He's a piece of shit.
I know. Fuck Craig Jones, man.
Oh man, but man, he's good at squeezing people's legs and shit. It's crazy. We're finally to the main card now. We start out with a highly intense, highly heated light heavyweight fight that's been rescheduled. 2 guys just outside the top 15 in Paul Craig and Jamal Hill. Sweet Dreams versus Bear Jew. Jamal Hill had COVID, which is definitely a serious thing for these MMA fighters to be coming off of. We've seen a lot of these fighters coming off of COVID and not looking the same, even several months out afterwards. So when I see COVID, it's a big concern of mine. Volkanovski had COVID, a pretty bad case of it as well. His fight is not scheduled until September for a reason, and I believe it is a lot due to that. I think that we're still learning the long-term effects of this. Not going to turn this into a COVID podcast, but Jamal Hill was out due to COVID, and like a week later was on his Instagram smoking like 10 blunts in a day. So, and I'm pretty sure he got COVID a couple days after like going out to like a strip club or something. He was down like, I mean, it's just that's the part of Jamal Hill I'm not sure of. He's got extreme skills, but he's undefeated, 8-0, very young in his career. Still fighting at a pretty small gym in Murcielago in Lansing, Michigan, with guys like Daquan Townsend. So still fighting in his, still fighting a home gym, which nothing wrong with that. But I just, I do wonder if until Jamal Hill gets that wake-up call, he might just be cruising on that talent. But that talent's gotten him a lot of really good performances so far. He had the fight with Klidson Abreu that was moved to a no contest due to marijuana. But, I mean, he ended Klidson in under 2 minutes, and that was a 15-4 veteran, really with a lot of good, solid wins. Beat a 13-3 guy in Darko Stosic. Faced a 9-2 guy on the Contender Series. So, and then he beat Ovince St. Peru by knockout in the second round. And that was like that passing of the torch type moment for me with Jamal Hill. And I just think in this fight, you got Paul Craig. You know how Paul Craig wins if he wins this fight. He's going to snatch up some sort of submission. He can do it. He's done it to me in plenty of bets, and we look and he's had several really good fights with Shogun Rua. But Jamal Hill is 26 years old, in his prime, really light on his feet, really good stand-up. His wrestling, it's hard to get him down, hard to get a hold of him with his movement and takedown defense. And, I mean, the guys who Paul Craig is beating are guys like Vincius Morea, trash. Gadzmurad Antugulov, gasses after 30 seconds. Mauricio Shogun Rua twice. Mauricio Shogun Rua is nearly 40. Tried a spinning wheel kick against Alonzo Menafield and got put away. I think that, that is kind of where I see this going as well. I like Jamal Hill here. I am nervous with the COVID and the potential impact that can have on his gas and everything, but I'm going to trust he's ready for this. Skill on the feet, way too much. Jamal Hill, second round TKO.
Yeah, man. Like you said, Jamal Hill, he's definitely not the perfect fighter. There's definitely a lot of potential concerns with him, but I don't think Paul Craig is going to be the person to expose it unless he's just unless he really just is totally slacking on it. You know what I'm saying? I really just don't see. I think he is just in general speaking, he is just a bad matchup for Paul Craig. And like you said, I mean, Paul Craig is always liable to get, some kind of submission. You know what I'm saying? You definitely can't sleep on him.
Definitely.
He's capable of beating anybody if they make a mistake. But I think Jamal is going to have enough wherewithal to, not grapple with him and go ahead and get the finish. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to knock him out. Yeah,
and have you seen all the heat between these two?
No.
Jamal Hill really does not like Paul Craig, and they're all in each other's face today. And Paul Craig's your breath smells, and he's my hands.
I did see that. Oh, okay, that's okay. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal Hill. I watched an Instagram live of his where he spent an hour basically just going I'm gonna fucking kill Paul Craig. I cannot believe anybody thinks I'm gonna lose to this guy. So there is a little bit of not, doesn't seem like he's taking Paul Craig seriously, but he takes himself very seriously, and he's definitely preparing and everything. But there's a COVID factor here I'm nervous about, and there's the submission, and he's only 8-0 in Jamal Hill. But the three guys he's facing in the UFC, all with a ton of experience, all with grappling, potential as well. And he was able to avoid those traps. Minus 290 favorite for Jamal Hill makes me nervous. Plus 245 Paul Craig. But I agree with you still. I just don't believe that Paul Craig is the guy to expose the issues in Jamal Hill. Probably, maybe the guy who you beat and get after a Paul Craig is that guy, but also Jamal Hill has just a ton of skill. 30 years old and 8-0. He was a late starter into MMA, but I don't have a problem with that either. Yeah, the COVID thing concerns me though, still, because it didn't look like he ever took that too seriously either. But that just may be kind of just the type of motherfucker that Jamal Hill is he's just very, kind of confident, lackadaisical, and he's from my hometown, Lansing, Michigan. I know these people. 30 years old. We grew up at the exact same time in the same area. I know Jamal, so and he's always kind of been this dude. Got into a lot of trouble, made a lot of bad decisions early on. I mean, you're not fighters because you're scholars. Some of y'all are, but a lot of you make a lot of bad personal decisions that end up getting you to a point where you gotta kind of reclaim yourself with the greatest sport. But yeah, we both like Hill here, and we both like to get a finish.
And it's just like you said, Jamal is like a physical specimen, so it's kind of his decisions, whether good or bad. If they're bad, they will catch up to him. I don't know him. I don't know what exactly he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So if he's making the good decisions, he'll keep on doing what he's been doing, keep on being successful. But if he's making bad decisions outside of the game, you always have your John Jones scenarios where some people.
Brendan Lonahan is pouring it on right now. He was supposed to be on the show a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, Brandon Lonahan about to win me a lot of money. But please carry on.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, and it's weird because some fighters kind of thrive on that chaos. You know what I'm saying? Having
exactly. I mean, Muay Thai fighters have been very well known for drinking, partying, smoking cigarettes, and it's very. I mean, you do not have to make good decisions to be a good fighter. Eventually, the bad decisions, in my opinion, catch up to you. But at 30, with only 8 fights in his career, I mean, if his worst decisions are going to strip clubs and smoking weed, I can live with those.
Yeah, I concur. I agree.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. I hope to eventually be talking with Jamal. I was trying to get him on, but believe it or not, he's a little bit aloof when he's like, yeah, I can do an interview, and then he kind of forgets to check his Instagram, forgets to sees it, forgets to respond. But yeah, I mean, either way, I got Jamal here, one of the bigger favorites on the card. Interestingly enough, all the prelims are crazy close. Really, this main card, I think we're going to be agreeing quite a bit, if I'm being honest.
I think so too. I think
it's pretty chalky.
Be all unanimous.
It's pretty chalky. And often my prelim breakdown lasts a lot longer than the main card, and I'm fine with that. This next fight, I'm going to be shocked if we're on opposite sides here. Shocked. We got Bilal Muhammad getting another main card opportunity here after that unfortunate eye poke against Leon Edwards. Remember the name, taking on Damian Maia, now 43 years old in 7 months. 28-10 record, very good record for Damian. One of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners ever to step foot in the octagon. I'll start with Bilal, 18-3, 32 years old, 5'11". So definitely a shorter welterweight here, 71-inch reach. Currently number 13 ranked welterweight, had the no contest with Leon Edwards. The first round was close, but Leon was winning it. Before that, had not the most impressive performance over Diego Lima, in my opinion. Kind of got caught with way too many shots, in my opinion, against a guy like Diego Lima, not Douglas Lima. Lyman good. He looked excellent against, really showed his movement and speed and volume. Takashi Saito used that grappling and got his one and only finish in the UFC. So that's kind of telling. And Melender used the grappling. Here, he's not going to be able to use the grappling. Going to really use the volume, use the stand-up, and use the movement. Taking on Damian Maia. And out of Rufus Sport is Bilal Muhammad also. So good camp, although not the camp it once was. Damian Maia, 43 years old, still in the fighting coming off a loss to Gilbert Burns, where Gilbert Burns really put him away with a clean left hook and just stepped away from him. And then the ref said no more. So Gilbert Burns had to go in and land some additional shots there. Before that, though, Damian Maia was on a 3-fight win streak. Got a majority win over Anthony Rocco Martin and quick finish of Lyman Good. Lyman Good fought with no IQ in that fight, I remember. And then also had kind of a stand-up boxing affair with Ben Askren before submitting Ben Askren. Yeah, this is to me, I can't really pick Damian Maia in this spot against a guy in his prime in Bilal Muhammad, who's just much more active, has a well-rounded grappling game as well. I like Bilal Muhammad here. And I'm going to take Bilal to get a decision. I think Maia is tough enough to get to a decision, but I think after this fight, Maia might realize it's time to leave those gloves in the middle.
Yeah. So, kind of like you said, this is the first agreement, the first second main card, second main card fight, second agreement we have. Yeah, I'm taking Muhammad too, just because, like you said, Muhammad, he has a lot of holes in his game. He's not a perfect fighter, but Damian Maia is not in any. Damian Maia, he's still Damian Maia, but he's a much older on the other side of his career, Damian Maia, and like you said, he just got absolutely smoked by Gilbert Burns. Now, granted, Gilbert Burns is one of the best welterweights in the world, so a lot of people are going to get smoked by Gilbert Burns, but
Bilal Muhammad would have gotten barbecued by Gilbert Burns too.
I agree, but he would have got barbecued. It would have taken a little bit longer for him to get cooked.
That's fair. That's slow cook.
Yeah, I think this is gonna end up being on the feet a lot, and I think Bilal's gonna take it to Damian. Just off of just a volume kind of standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Bilal has good cardio. He has a lot of volume. I think he's just gonna outstrike Damian. I kind of want to take Muhammad by finish. I think I'm gonna take him by finish.
If you're betting a Muhammad finish, you're probably getting a pretty good price on it. So that would, yeah, and just like I'm trying to focus here, but Brendan Longhane and Tyler Diamond are banging it out right now. And now Tyler Diamond is on top in the wrestling after Longhane appears to have gassed himself out going for a finish. So really interesting fight going on PFL. Definitely check that out on ESPN Plus after this. But I'm going to stay focused here. Bilal is, it's another minus. It's a minus 225. I think that's a very good price here. Parlay builder, absolutely for me. Plus 185 on Maia. I think that price is giving Maia a lot of respect for a great career, and I do respect that, but I can't go with it here. I got Bilal. I'm pretty confident as well. And the next fight here, first of our 3 5-round fights, Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. What a weird fight here, but okay. Like I know that it's been advertised. I know it was announced several months ago. It got moved back a month due to Nate Diaz having a back injury. So that's where I start right away. Not crazy about moving. Either it wasn't a back injury, it was something else, and they had said it was a back injury, or it was. I don't know how you heal from a back injury in 1 month and then fight for 5 rounds. The other part is that right away, I think that people think, Nate Diaz gets the advantage because it's 5 rounds because Nate Diaz rides his bike and swims a lot and blah, 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 like cardio king. But anytime a fight's gone into a 4th round, Nate Diaz has lost, actually. It's only been 2 fights, but still has lost both fights that have entered the 4th round. We have the number 30 welterweight taking on the number 4 welterweight. Like 36 years old is Nate Diaz now. I love Nate Diaz, Stockton for ever, but 20-12, 36 years old now, 6 foot, very small welterweight. I get he's put on a little bit of weight. Looks like he has put on some muscle, but still, a small welterweight taking on another smaller welterweight in Leon, but Leon's going to be the bigger, stronger guy in this matchup. So last fight was Jorge Masvidal back in November of 2019. I was at that fight. That was in Madison Square Garden. And I don't know how Diaz ate that head kick in the first round and survived. Diaz is so tough. We all know that. Pressure boxer, huge volume striker as well. And everything like that. Before that, had a win over Anthony Pettis because Anthony Pettis struggles against pressure boxers. Look at him against Clay Collard. Then he had the Conor McGregor ordeal. That's been the last 5 years for Nate Diaz. Now he's taking on Leon Edwards? Like, why? That's just so wild to me he'd take this fight. I mean, I get it because if he wins this fight, like, Nate Diaz is fighting for a title. Like, I guess that's why he's doing it. But Leon Edwards is the closest thing that we got to, like a GSP walking around right now, in my opinion, in the welterweight division. And what I mean by that is very well-rounded, mixes up the takedowns, has really accurate, sharp, especially jabs, good body kicks, as we can see here against Donald Cerrone. He was cruising in that fight against Bilal before the eye poke. I do not believe that it was an intentional eye poke. It was just kind of bad luck for him. Has a win over Rafael Dos Anjos, really solid unanimous decision win. Beat Gunnar Nelson, which I rate as a good win. Donald Cerrone. All of these are really solid wins for Leon. He was supposed to face Tyron Woodley, would have smoked him. Was supposed to face Kazmat Chimaev, would have smoked him. I think that Leon Edwards is the real deal here. He's not the biggest welterweight in the world, and I'm okay with that. I think that he's very well-rounded. He's going to be able to mix it up here. And I think I don't like Nate's chances at all. Can't really bet Leon because I know this is the biggest favorite of the night at -600, but I'm not betting Nate either. And I think that there's a reason for these odds. I think Leon is just new MMA, and we're seeing an old school, older, less active Nate Diaz come in here. And yeah, I think Leon could win a decision. I think he knows if he gets a finish, it's such a statement though that they won't be able to deny him a title shot if he gets a finish. So I can't predict Diaz to get finished though. I just can't. I wouldn't be able to show my face to Bonnie ever again. So I got a decision.
Yeah, no. It's kind of before I left the gym. I came right from the gym to back to the crib so I could do to the show. And right before I left, me and one of my teammates were talking. We bet a lot on the fights, and we put money down. We put money down. And we started off with Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz, and we couldn't make a bet because, it's just as much as you love Nate Diaz, how can you take him in this fight over Leon Edwards? So, Leon Edwards has been so impressive. He's basically the underdog king of the welterweight division. He's the dark horse for the title. He's already lost to Kamaru. I don't know if he can beat him, but if Kamaru wasn't the champ, he'd be right there at the top of the food chain for who would fight for the title. So, yeah, I got Leon all day.
Yeah, and like I said, -600 for Leon. It is what it is. I mean, there's a reason. Nate Diaz wins this fight. It's the best one of his career, in my opinion. And the amount he will be able to choose whatever he wants. Whatever he wants, he gets after that fight. I mean, this would just be such a huge win for him. And from a hardcore MMA perspective, I do not know anybody I've talked to who's taking Nate Diaz. So if you are taking Nate Diaz, go ahead and make the comment down below. I am a huge Nate Diaz fan. I just don't see how. I do not see how he beats a guy like Leon Edwards, it is almost the last guy I'd suggest that Nate Diaz would take a fight with at welterweight, frankly. Like, this is just such a bad matchup. And we even heard Nate Diaz say, Nate Diaz actually said the GSP thing as well. Yeah, a lot of slipping and dipping from Leon for sure. Brandon, yeah, I agree 100%. I just think that he's going to outclass, and I think it might be the last we see of Nate Diaz unless he can get a Conor McGregor fight, because I just think he's going to probably get frustrated in a very technical decision, just be like, people don't want to fight no more. They just want to hold me. Like, I can just kind of see it, and it's just like Leon Edwards is just going to – Leon Edwards does not care if you like how he fights you. Like, he does not care. He's going in there, and he's going for the win. The Edwards brothers versus the Diaz brothers, fascinating fight. 125 division for our co-main event. It's Deivison Figueredo, Brandon Moreno 2. Let me just say this first and foremost about this fight. If you're able to hear and look at Brandon Moreno speak and not have a little bit of a smile come across your face, your name is Deivison Figueredo, or you have no heart. Because, like, the dude is so damn happy to be here. And he's just, like, he's got a really cool presence to him. It's so hard to root against him. Like, he's just such a, like, the assassin baby. I mean, look at him. He's just always cheesing, always happy. Brandon Moreno, the Ultimate Fighter, Latin America, last pick on the Ultimate Fighter, ended up battling through that. But 27 years old still, second stint in the UFC. I just think that number 2 flyweight, he's come a long way. Had a big win over Brandon Royval before that. Draw against Deivison Figueredo. The draw did come as a result of a low blow, but I mean, it was a really good fight. Both guys were really going back and forth. Brandon Moreno did not seem to ever be in real danger of being finished by Figueredo in that one. So, and he went 5 rounds with him. So coming back here, I think Brandon Moreno could have a really high confidence. But I do wonder if Figueredo having that fight was very close to the Alex Perez fight he had. I know Figueredo cuts a lot of weight. I know he didn't return to Brazil either, so he stayed in the States. And he claimed he was also sick for that fight and still went 5 rounds. I mean, Figueredo showed you a lot in that fight that he's not just this first round or second round finisher. Like, he can go 5 rounds. He can keep throwing. I think if Brendan thinks he can take those same shots he did in the last fight the way he did in this fight, I think he could get put away here. It's hard. I want to pick Brandon Moreno so bad. But Deivison Figueredo, what he's done to Joseph Benavidez twice, what he's done to Alex Perez, what he's done to all these guys, and what he did the DQ ended up resulting in Davidson getting a draw. It didn't end up resulting in him getting a loss. So that's what Brandon Moreno needed to get to a draw. And it's one of these things where, it's just one of these things where I got to go with the champ here. But I'd love to be wrong. But I got to go with the champ between the price and between what I saw in the first fight, which I believe was not a full strength Deivison Figueredo. I think he comes in much more prepared. I like how he didn't rush into a rematch either. Congratulations to Brendan Longahan, who did get the decision win. So good for him, and cashed my biggest bet of the night. So that's great. And definitely advised everybody to do that yesterday. What are your thoughts on this fight? I got Davidson. I'm going to take another decision. I think it's going to be fighting.
Oh, interesting. I could 100% see that. And it's so tough for me because, especially just coming off tough, Brandon, he's a tough vet. We're represented by the same agent.
Yep.
And when I was in Vegas, there's one time I went to the UFC Performance Institute, and I was getting worked on, and lo and behold, who was sitting next to me also getting worked on, Brandon Moreno. He was one of the nicest people, I ever talked to off the rip. Like, super nice guy wearing a Naruto shirt. We talked about Naruto for a second. I told him to watch One Piece. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool dude. With that being said, Deivison Figueredo is just a different. He is an absolute animal. And with stuff like you said, I mean, like I honestly would be very happy if Brandon won. I honestly would be.
Oh my God, it'd be so great.
I would be very happy, but just like objectively talking about it, there hasn't. I mean, there's been some time between the match, but there hasn't been a ton of time for someone at their level to get better, and that was Brandon Moreno. I mean, they both fought on 2 weeks' notice. So I mean. It'll be interesting to see what a full fight camp for one fight for these guys looks like, but generally speaking,
But
I was gonna say this is kind of one of those things where the champ has a close fight, and then in the rematch, the champ shows why they're the champ. I think that's what happens with this. They had a close fight the first time. I think Deivison comes out with the full fight camp back at home. Not sleeping on Brandon, he comes out, and I think he gets the finish this time.
okay.
What round? I'm saying round 2. I think Deivison Figueredo gets the finish in round 2. I want Brandon Moreno. I want Brandon to win because that would be awesome. But I got Deivison winning.
We do agree on this one all the way around. We both are rooting for Brandon for sure. But I'm here to make money and put together bets.
Yeah.
And I want to pick the winners. It's not all about heart. I wish it could be. It'd be a lot easier. The money is coming in on Deivison a little bit. Minus 210 though. I think that's a great price on Deivison. Again,
minus 210 is not bad at all.
Yeah, plus 175 on Moreno. That I wouldn't be crazy about that if I was even on Moreno's side. I'd want a little better price. I mean, you have to remember, if there wasn't that low blow, this second fight isn't happening right now for sure.
110%.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Brandon Moreno's story. He got cut from the UFC for no reason. It was when they were thinking about getting rid of the flyweight division completely, and he got cut unceremoniously. Went over to LFA and won an LFA flyweight title, and worked his way back. That is dope to me. And if he wins the title, that would be truly incredible and inspiring, I think, to just about anybody. So I don't want to be wrong, but if I'm wrong on this, I'll survive. Figgy was minus 330. Yeah, Figgy was minus 335 in the first fight. And now he's shaved off 100. So I'm surprised he was only minus 300 the first fight. So good call by the odds makers there. But
Aaron, where'd you go?
sorry about that. I hit back on the wrong. I hit back. You there, Brian?
Did you disappear? Did you disappear for a second?
Yep. We back. Yeah, I disappeared for a second.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, no, I hit back on the wrong screen. So sorry about that. I will stay with you for the main event as well. The main event of the evening: Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori. I forgot to get to the right screen, and I hit back when I was on StreamYard. Like a real professional here. But we keep going. Sorry about that. Main event of the evening here: Marvin Vettori, Israel Adesanya, number 2. Another less entertaining first bout, but very close first bout regardless. I do think that Israel Adesanya won, going back and watching it, but I do think that the blueprint is out there on how to beat Israel Adesanya at this point. at least by a guy by like Jan Blachowicz. But that was the 205 champ. And I mean, I just think that some people are overreacting just a little bit to that here in this fight with Stylebender against Vettori. I get Vittori's been on a good run, though, so I think this is an interesting matchup for sure. I'll start with the Italian Dream, 17-3-1, Bart Marvin, the Italian Dream Vettori, 27 years old, fighting out MMA or King's MMA, Rafael Cordero, very good coach. Has really put together a good solid fighter at this point. He's on a 5-fight win streak since losing a split to Israel Adesanya. Beat Cesar Ferreira, Andrew Sanchez, Carl Roberson, Jack Hermanson, all solid wins. And then Kevin Holland really exposed the weaknesses that Brunson showed in the fight and showed that he could follow that game plan. So it's a similar type of deal possibly here with the game plan that Jan Blachowicz put out there for Marvin Vettori. If Marvin follows that, if he can really do those things, he can win this fight. But this is back at 185. Adesanya is undefeated at 185. I think that he is a middleweight. I don't know why he was talking about going to heavyweight at any point in his life. Like, that was just crazy talk. I think that going up to 205 wasn't a great call, but I'm not sure if it really completely diverts him here. He only weighed like 200 for that fight, so it's not like he changed his body and he's going to have trouble making 185. I think that early on, he's going to be landing a lot. If Marvin can get through those first 2 rounds, though, and the kind of sting from those punches and those shots start to dissipate a little bit, and he can start getting in on those takedowns, getting in on the grappling, doing what he was doing in the 3rd round of the first fight, he can win rounds 3, 4, and 5. He showed that 5-round gas in the last couple fights very easily. He's a big, wide guy, and when they fought the first time, he did have some success. But with Izzy, when Izzy fought in the 25-foot cage against Jan, that is a huge disadvantage for Izzy. Izzy needs that space of the 30-foot cage. And okay, Brandon's mentioning this too. Yeah, Izzy's last fight was against Jan. Jan is several levels ahead of Marvin Vettori. I think Marvin Vettori has quickly become one of these very overhyped, overrated guys in this division. But, I mean, he did win 5 straight, and he had a close fight with Adesanya, and make sure to keep reminding people they had a close fight with Adesanya, and it's kept his stock very, very high. I think that Izzy is much more difficult to take down than a Kevin Holland. I do think that being in there for 3 rounds already is a huge advantage for Izzy as well. Knows kind of what to expect, what to feel out of Marvin. And the last point I will make, and then I'll turn it over to you. Marvin Vettori had his promo photo shoot today. Did you see this? And no one decided to tell Marvin Vettori his shorts were on backwards. So, for one, I don't trust the people who are handling Marvin Vettori now. Got all sorts of questions there. For 2, I think that if you don't realize your shorts are on backwards, your head is so, in something else, which probably is Izzy living in there, that I can't take you. I got Izzy here. I do think this could be a close 49, 47, 48, 40, or 48, 47, 49, 46 type. I do imagine that if this gets into later rounds, if Izzy isn't able to get the stop inside the first 2 rounds, I do see Vettori winning a round or 2 later on. So this could be a sweat, but I'm taking Israel Adesanya. I personally think he stops him inside of 2 rounds. More
wow.
strikes.
It is crazy. We literally because it is a similar thing, I think, with Deivison Figueredo and Brandon Moreno, just on different ends of the spectrum. I think this is more of like a situation where Alexander Gustafsson has a really close fight with John Jones that most people think Alexander Gustafsson won. Then they have a rematch.
And that was the best fight of Alexander Gustafsson's career, which was a loss.
Yeah. And then when they have the rematch, what happens? John Jones murders him. I think this is going to be pretty because Vettori he hasn't lost. It was a close fight once again, like you said, it was a close fight that he lost, but it was a close fight nonetheless. But taking Stylebender down is going to be he's coming off a loss too. It'd be different if he was still on that win streak and riding high. He's coming off a loss. He's going to be trying to make a point. He hasn't lost at 85 yet in the UFC, so I think he's going to try to make a statement with Vettori. I think he finishes it within 2. If not, then if it does go to decision, I agree 100%. I think Vettori does grab 2 rounds, but I think Stylebender. I don't see Stylebender losing this fight. I think no matter what, whether he finishes it or it goes to decision, he's gonna.
I would love to see. I would love to see the finish, just because the decision will make me nervous for things like, these numbers right here: 164 significant strikes in his fight with Jack Hermansson. Although Jack Hermansson landed 122, which is not great either from Vettori's end. And most takedowns in a fight with 11. I get all those things for sure. I just think some people who are going with Vettori are really oversimplifying and be like, oh, Vettori just needs to start wrestling sooner and then he's good. Like it's a little more than that. Like, because by deciding to wrestle sooner and give away those movements, that's going to give Israel Adesanya openings for those front kicks, the teeps, the movement overall. I mean, it's not that simple. And Israel Adesanya, besides getting taken down by the champion, Jan Blachowicz, is not getting taken down that easily.
The champion in the next weight division up, and it's not like a smaller weight division where it's a 10-pound jump. This is a 20-pound jump between 185 pounds.
Right, and he weighed in at 200, and he weighed in at 200 pounds.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize when you wrestle, wrestling is exhausting. If you don't get the takedown and you can't hold someone down, even when that happens, you're still exhausted afterwards. Trying to wrestle someone like Stylebender for 25 minutes, good luck with that. I think Stylebender is going to finish him.
I think he is. I think he is too. So between Moreno and Marvin, who do you think has a better chance at the upset? It's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really good question.
I will say Marvin.
I feel that. Of course, we agreed on every fight on the main card. Now we disagree on this one question. I
get it.
I'm going with Moreno just because. Since he is tough as nails, we could just see like another. Classic. We could see their first fight, just the second version of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think Stylebender has gotten better over his time in the UFC than Marvin's gotten in his time in the UFC. So I think a Stylebender is just going to put it on him.
Yeah, I think both. I can get why either one would be your dog that you're really chasing here. I will just answer it. I would say Marvin, just because of the fact that the numbers he's putting up in these fights are really impressive. And he's winning these fights undeniably. And there's a very clear path to victory for Marvin in this fight. I'm not saying it's easy for him to do, but there's a very clear victory. For Moreno, it's not as clear, the victory of like how he goes about this. But you guys are both on Moreno. The odds say, Moreno has a better chance at plus 175 versus Vettori is a plus 215, plus 210. Got the minus 255 Adesanya. But that is going to do it on this Thursday evening. The first fight card back for Brian and I. And it's like we haven't even lost a step. Finishing in about 2 hours. That's what you can expect on a 14-fight card. Yeah. We're not going to skim over information. We had to catch up a little bit and everything like that. And watching the presser today, just one last little thing. Watching the presser today, Izzy is so far living in Marvin's head. Yeah, I agree. Marvin put on his shorts backwards for the biggest promo shoot of his career. That is like telling.
I am nervous. It's like you're a grown man. don't come on. Like, people are talking about how did people let him take a picture? It's like, no, how did he get to the picture taking?
Yeah, I like how you put on your shorts back, like I put on my boxers backwards before, and like when your dick's in the ass spot, like
instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly.
What is wrong with you, Marvin? Like, he's thinking about Izzy. He's just thinking about Izzy. But for Bryan, for Aaron the dog, until next Thursday, you can expect to see us back here. We'll figure out the time. If it's a later one, it's a later one. But we'll make it work. But for Aaron, for Bryan, I want to thank you all for joining me. Aaron the Dog MMA is the channel. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Suggest this to your friends. I will have breakdowns of all the PFLs moving forward, LFAs moving forward, Bellators moving forward, and, of course, the UFCs as well. I will do breakdowns on all of those fights, as well as interviews are coming up soon. But for Bryan, for Aaron, keep taking care of each other out there and cash those bets.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
out.
Let's go.